Stories once told as tales in the evening campfires turn to facts to live with. Life has changed faster than age could cope with. Like a thorn in the flesh, it has been painful memories too hard to erase from the minds of many. Watching far in the horizon as the sun rises, clearing the morning dew, Mr. Shakala remains at his doorstep. As others go to tilt their land, he is confined to a tiny square piece, and the rest of it is a field of death. During the wars, hundreds of landmines were buried in his only land, waiting for any small disturbance to cause lethal explosion. In Shakala's farm alone, over 10 people have lost their limbs, including his own son and several others fated to death.
dagaalka Soomaaliya waxay dhacday miin ay la kacday marka ka bacdi adinku go'ay ka bacdigeena waa la qaaday ay qaaday qolada hay'ad rika roostreera xamar berbera la geeyay ka bacdi xamar diyaarada ayaa la saaray sidamana way soo celiyeen markaas qolaha hay'ado rika roostreera oran jiray berbera degreed bay adinka ii soo gelisay xamar ii soo gelisay ka bacdina way soo celiyeen.
This is the most commonly found anti-personnel landmine in Somaliland that we still find today in 2010. It's a Pakistani-made P4 Mark I anti-personnel landmine. It's laid under the surface of the ground, and then somebody puts their foot on top of the pressure plate, which initiates the mine. This sets off the 30 grams of TNT, and will drive your foot upwards, speed in excess of 600 miles an hour, often resulting in the amputation just below the knee.
The Horn of Africa's mine story dates back to the 1960s. During the Somali and Ethiopia War, Somalia's 1,600-kilometer long border with Ethiopia is mined, and an estimated 70% of all landmines in Somalia are buried along this frontier.
Mines has been laid out in Somalia in 1977 with the Ethiopia-Ogaden conflict. And that was a national scale mine burying program, whereas Somalia army, after their defeat from the Ogaden region, they've deployed about 20,000 of their troops to lay out mines and build minefields all along the border with Ethiopia.
And in much of the Horn of Africa, mines were used as weapons of terror. They were used indiscriminately against civilians and military targets. They have been used on farmlands, around public buildings, access roads, water reservoirs, and so forth. They pose an ever-present danger to human life and livestock.
ayuu meel ku dilay inta laamiga xariiqiisa waqooyiga kiisa kore ilaa halka aynu joogno.
Their socio-economic impact is immense.
dad iyo xoolaba way naga marisay duunya malihin ilaahay un baanu kaashanayna de ilaahay un baa wax ku seen kara horta
beerahan miinaha imika soo galay intii dalka la soo kala dhan maan qodan miina ilaahin ba walan diday xoolihina nag imika waxba ma hayno
In some parts of the Horn, where the war is still going on, mines are still being used. Most of the mines were put during the civil war between the Siad Barre regime and the Somali National Movement, SNM, in the early 80s when the splinter Somaliland was fighting for self-autonomy from the mainland Somalia.
The problem became even worse when the SNM, Somali National Movement, a rebel organization, was launched in early 80s. That was fighting against the Somali army within the border and inside the Somali territory. And then the mine problem is not the only problem that exists here. There's also what we call unexploded ordnance, or the remains of war that are left in the battle areas. Hargeisa was hugely bombed by the Somali Air Force in the fighting of 1988.
Efforts being put in place to clear the mines in the Horn of Africa have not borne much fruit, since such activities are only possible in Somaliland.
Mine clearance first began in Somaliland in 1991, but unfortunately 19 years later the region still remains to be impacted by landmines and explosive remnants of war. More than 200 mined roads with an anti-tank landmine threat in and around all 6 regions of Somaliland.
The South Somalia, which is still at war, no demining activities are going on. Even in areas where demining is underway, the painstaking exercise is slow, scanning inch by inch until the vast land is cleared. Any alarming call is treated as a landmine, and due caution is taken to excavate it out. A step into the demarcated areas could result to fatal injuries or death. This exercise is to be extended to the Horn of Africa until every square is cleared. It is not very clear when the tasks will be completed. And while this is going on, people like Shakale cannot carry out any activity on their land, forcing them to utter poverty without choice. Landmines and explosive remnants of war have remained a scaring ghost, keeping people out of their world in their own land. Their only option is to wait patiently, hoping that one day their land will be free and productive once again. The warlords are out of the scene, leaving whoever cares to clear the mess.
There will remain a residual threat of minefields still yet to be identified, that we will wait the local information from the nomadic populations in the south, and survey will be an ongoing process. So over the course of the next coming years' clearance, we still expect to be an amount of land that comes to our attention that is still mined beyond the 346 that we've already identified.
The Horn of Africa has suffered huge losses in revenue. Potential mineral exploitation site still remains virgin. Fertile land remains untouched, with almost 100% of foodstuff being imported from other countries. The country is in self-exile. Until the work's complete, this vast land remains a no-go, awaiting safety to be guaranteed, and its people remain to suffer in anticipation of help that no one has so far guaranteed.